Hey, we are back talking about dating relationships. And if you remember yesterday, we talked about healthy versus unhealthy relationships. And we gave you the characteristics of healthy relationships and all about how it's all about equality and respect for each other in a relationship. And then we started talking about unhealthy relationships, which really gets you into a point where you're just not healthy together. We're not resolving conflicts, we're not communicating right. There's just this inequality of power. There might be some power struggles, but we're going to start off today teaching you how to break up with somebody the appropriate way. Because I know there's lots of icky business going on out there when someone is trying to dump someone else. And sometimes we are really trying to protect ourselves from uncomfortable feelings when we are about to break up with someone else. The second thing we are going to start talking about is when you need to start realizing if your relationship is turning abusive. Now, when we are talking about abusive relationships, it's a whole different level. And again, these are a lot of times the exceptions, but the reason we talk about it is because it does happen in high school dating relationships a lot more than what we really think is actually happening. If we were actually teaching you guys face to face right now, I do have some stories and accounts that happen just at ECU High School, but also at other local high schools as well. But we just don't have the time for that, unfortunately. So we will be filling you in with some of this stuff. But the biggest thing to understand is right behind me on the board is with abusive relationships, there is a strong element of fear. The victim is actually afraid of the perpetrator or the abuser. And the other thing is the abuser, they never lose control. They never, they can always help themselves. They know what they're doing. It's very calculated. And it's all about them trying to gain power and control over their victim. So, like I said, we are going to continue talking about unhealthy relationships and how to break up with somebody, but then we're going to move into that dating violence or those abusive relationship characteristics and things we should look for. So as we move through, and again, to quick review, we want to make sure that we're having empathy for other people. We really want to make sure that as you guys are talking about this with your friends, or as you have someone come talk to you about these types of things, we're not making fun. So even when you're watching TV shows and movies that show abusive relationships, let's make sure we have some empathy. We don't know what the person next to us is going through. Understanding again those characteristics of the healthy relationships. We talked about the healthy relationship wheel, and today we're actually going to show you an abusive relationship wheel as well. And then we'll talk about you talked about characteristics of unhealthy relationships yesterday, and then finally the warning signs of an unhealthy relationship. So number one, today we are going to be talking about how to break up an unhealthy relationship. So breaking up an unhealthy relationship, it's not just sending a snap. We don't send a DM. We don't have a friend go talk to them or give them some sort of idea that I want to break up with them. Okay, there's actual steps that you need to consider when you do plan on breaking up with somebody. And I'm not telling you that you shouldn't break up with people. Okay, if it's an unhealthy relationship, okay, kick them to the curb or just realize that you're maybe the bad person. But you need to make sure you still do it in a respectful way. The second thing we're going to talk about today is understanding when a relationship is actually turning abusive. So there are some pretty telltale signs of an abusive relationship which will give you an idea of what to look for in like your friends' relationships or even a siblings' relationships or maybe one of your own. And some of you haven't even experienced a dating relationship yet, and that's totally fine. Okay, we don't expect you to all be in dating relationships, nor do we want you all in dating relationships at this point, but you're going to be there eventually, and these are great tools for you guys to have. So we are going to quick show you this review video on healthy and unhealthy relationships, and it's from one of my favorites, which are the amaze.org videos. They're pretty cheesy, but I absolutely love them. So we're going to take a quick 2.5 minute break to watch this video.
Oh, you won't believe the day I've had. It was so terrible. Casey, who's supposed to be my best friend, promised me that we'd go to the mall after school. Later, she texted me that she couldn't go, so I went with Nicole, my almost best friend, instead. But then, at the mall, just next to the food court, you won't believe who I saw. That's right, Casey! And she was with Nathan, her new boyfriend. Ugh, I hate her! I'm so lucky I have you. You're such a good listener.
Now that you're in your teens, you may feel like you want to spend less time with your family and more time with your friends. During this time, some of your friendships may deepen while others might fade away. And some of your friendships may even become romantic. Being in a healthy relationship, whether a friendship or a romantic relationship, can be fun, but it can also be complicated. So here are some rules to follow to make sure your friendships are healthy. In a healthy relationship, each person supports and encourages the other. Real friends want to know what you're thinking and feeling, and they'll be interested in what you have to say. It's okay to have disagreements, even in a healthy relationship, but it's important to do so respectfully and talk openly about it with each other. Sometimes in a relationship, you'll need to compromise. But in a healthy relationship, the same person should not be the one who always compromises. It's important for both people to give and take. Finally, it's important to treat your relationships with care. And if a friend or romantic partner makes you feel small, teases you, or physically or sexually pushes you into doing things that you don't really want to do, then this might not be a healthy relationship for you. Remember, a healthy relationship, whether just a friendship or a romantic relationship, should make you feel good about yourself and who you are. After all, you are pretty great.
Okay, so enough about me. How was your day? Till next time, don't forget to visit me at amaze.org or go to my YouTube channel to watch more. Bye!
All right, so we just reviewed healthy and unhealthy relationships. So we are going to teach you how to break up, okay? Because again, there are proper steps in order to break up with somebody. Okay, so step one, convince yourself it's the right choice. Okay, so what are some reasons why we might convince ourselves to not break up with somebody? I might be telling my friend, I'm dumping him today. And all of a sudden I see him after school and I end up not dumping him. Okay, so some reasons that are up here says, don't go away. I don't want to be alone. Some people just can't stand that. Sometimes we date someone because we like the status that we gain from being with them. Sometimes because, maybe they're a little cute. Okay, maybe we feel that they're a little higher status than we are. So I like to go out with them because of that. And this thing called love. Okay, we think we're in love with that person. And even though we have some crappy times together, we have a hard time accepting that. Step two, we need to choose an appropriate time and place. Good day, Friday. Okay, obviously we're not in school right now, so it seems like every day is a Friday night. But when we're in school, you don't want to break up with someone on a Monday morning because then, A, what if you have class with them all day? Okay, B, you're going to see them in the hallways, lunchtime, after school, whatever it is. If you do it Friday at the end of the school day, that's perfect. They have the entire weekend to try to get over it or try to just process what just happened, and they don't have to worry about seeing you all over the place. We would prefer face to face. Obviously, right now it's harder to see people face to face, so we have video chat, right? How many of you have been on a FaceTime or a Zoom or a Snap video? We've all been there, okay? So those are your best options every single time, no matter what. We don't want to snap them. We don't want to send them a message. We don't want to send them a DM. We do not want to tell our friend to break up with them for us because what are you, like 8? It's not a thing anymore. If you know that your relationship is actually abusive, all this is done. Okay, we don't care how you do it. The time and location is going to change because you probably want it to be fairly public. You want to have other people around and not to make fun of them, okay, but to make sure that you remain safe. So if we know that they're going to be really mad and make a spectacle out of things, make sure you have people around. So that's this crowded space here. Then step three, understand that you need to explain to them why you're breaking up with them. This sucks. Absolutely sucks. And we don't want to fill them full of these cliches. It's not you, it's me. I just have to focus on other things right now. I have to worry about me right now. What? It doesn't even mean anything. If you truly are in a healthy relationship, you're going to make it work. If it's an unhealthy relationship, okay, you have to be honest. It is not working out. We constantly are arguing. Maybe they are just really annoying and you don't like them anymore. You don't have to be mean and hurtful and actually like rip their heart out while you're explaining it to them, but you do need to let them know exactly what's going on. Because if you say, well, once I take care of my stuff, well, maybe we'll get back together. Will you though? Okay, or are we just leading them on? And then also we keep getting texts from them. I know they might keep snapping us and expecting that hopefully we get back together. Okay, but it's just not going to happen. So if you really care for them, okay, and you really had a good relationship, you would make the time for them. If you don't care for them that much anymore, you have to let them know. Okay, so down on the bottom right corner, it says, it has nothing to do with you, it's me. And then right here, he finally breaks and says, oh my God, I just don't like you. And that's okay. It's okay. Step 4, make sure you are preparing for uncomfortable feelings. Getting dumped sucks. If any of you have been there, it's horrible. Okay. Dumping someone sucks because you're going to see all the emotions going on, especially if they weren't expecting it. Okay, it's really hard. So, the majority of the time that you are dumping someone or getting dumped, there's going to be hard feelings. They just can't be avoided. But don't try to sugarcoat it. Okay. It's going to give them hope, but don't be mean. Like I said, don't try to make them feel like there's a possibility in the future of getting back together. Okay. Because again, the odds of that happening are really slim to none. Or if you do get back together, it's probably still not going to be very healthy. And then finally, step 5, make sure other people know that you're breaking up. Now, this doesn't mean that you're telling the entire world or your entire freshman, sophomore class, okay, but you are making sure that important people in your life know this is happening. Why? Well, you're going to need support, okay, because sometimes we end up chickening out, okay, or like you said that you're going to dump them last month and then you're still together now because you're like, oh, it just got better. Okay. Where your friend is there, once you tell them that you're going to break up with this person, they're going to make sure you actually do it. Okay. So, what if it's a super unhealthy relationship and you think that they're going to retaliate or they're going to turn it into a fight? You're going to want someone there for you. Okay? And it doesn't mean they got to be your hype man behind you, like, yeah, yeah, like jazzing you up and everything, but you do need to make sure that they're present enough that they can help you out. So, we're going to start talking about abusive relationships. And this is when things get a little bit more challenging to talk about. So, you might be thinking, well, I thought we were just kind of in a crappy relationships, but it turns out it actually might be abusive. So, there's 5 warning signs right here. So, tell me what patterns you see, or think to yourself what patterns you see as I'm talking about these. First one is, are you afraid to make them angry? Number 2, are you afraid to disagree with them? Number 3, do you need to ask permission to do things or go places without them? And number 4, are you afraid that they're going to hurt you or something or someone that you care about? And then number 5, are you afraid to break up with them? Okay, so just think about those 5 warning signs. So what pattern do you see? Well, in unhealthy relationships, they just feel crappy. Okay, we hold grudges, we don't trust them, we have a hard time getting along, etc. Okay, we don't resolve our conflict. But when we're talking about an abusive relationship, those warning signs I just talked about, they might have a lot of those same feelings, but the biggest difference is there's that element of fear. We're actually afraid as the victim of what our abuser will do to us, or what they'll do to something close to us, or what they're going to say to us, what rumors they're going to spread. Okay, all of that is considered abuse. So there are 6 red flags that you are in an abusive relationship. Number 1, that they constantly criticize you, your intelligence, and your self-worth. Number 2, they try to keep you from having friends, especially someone who competes with your time with them. Someone else is getting in their way. Number 3, they act really jealous of you, especially when new people try to talk to you. And they're trying to keep you all to themselves. Number 4, they have problems controlling their temper, even if it's not directed at you. And it might be a thrown cell phone. It might be something that they punch a wall because they're so frustrated with you. Okay, but they always say, oh, but baby, I still love you. I'm sorry. Number 5, they make threats against you or something you care about. Let's say that you bought them a necklace for their last birthday. And then all of a sudden they get that mad at you and they rip that necklace off and they throw it away. They're like, well, if that's what I mean to you, might as well not even have that necklace anymore. Okay, that's something that meant a lot to you. And then finally, number 6, they might insist that you do something sexual, even if you've already told them no before. So we're going to talk about this wheel. So yesterday or the day before, we talked about the equality and respect wheel. Now we have a power and control wheel. Every action that an abuser does is to gain power and control over their victim. So we have possessiveness. We use jealousy as a sign of love. Well, baby, I love you. That's why I act like this. Number 2 is minimizing and blaming. I blame the victim when I'm the abuser. And I also say it wasn't that big of a deal. It's not like I left a mark. Number 3, intimidation. I might yell, I might get bigger, I might push you against the wall, and I might just stare you down. Number 4 is sexual abuse, bragging or lying to others about your sexual excursions. Even if you've never been sexual with that person, all of a sudden you hear all these rumors that you were, and they're saying, yeah, so you might as well do it now. Okay, that's manipulation. Number 5 is physical abuse. And this is what we typically think of when we think of an abusive relationship, but that's not all there is. It's holding them so they can't leave, hurting them where bruises aren't going to show, grabbing, slapping, shoving, punching, kicking. Then we have threats. Okay, saying that you won't live without them. If they break up with you, you might actually harm yourself. Telling them you're going to strand them somewhere if they don't do what you like. Okay, and threatening to find other people. Then we have number 7 is domination, setting the rules in the relationship. I make all the decisions. I have these unrealistic expectations for you. You show up one day and you're in sweats and a hoodie. I say, oh my God, you look like crap. You better not look like that tomorrow. So you actually get up early, you do your hair, you actually put your nice clothes on, and then you show up to school and they look at you and say, who are you trying to look hot for? Yesterday you looked like a piece of crap and today this is how you show up. Who are you trying to impress? You just can't win. And then finally, we have humiliation, calling them names in front of other people, constantly criticizing what they're doing, making them feel dumb in front of their other people. Okay, like that's real. You actually got an 82% on that last math test. I got a 90. Are you dumb? Okay, and guilt tripping people. So as we're going through this wheel, again, this looks just like our other one. So today what you're going to do is you're actually going to watch a series of 10 videos. Each one is a minute or less long, and you're going to come up with some feedback to give us about those relationships. If you want to roll into part 2 right now, you definitely can, but you can also save that for later in the week. Okay? And part 2 is going to be a little bit more about the cycle of abuse, and you're also going to be analyzing another video. All right, so get to that first assignment that I need you to do. And then again, you can roll right into the second one, or you can just hold off if you feel like this is too much for the day. All right, see yas.